On February 3, 2014, Senator Bernie Sanders introduced Senate Bill 1982. If passed, this bill would have increased availability of courses for all volunteer forces, expanded and extended certain healthcare benefits, increased mental health care initiatives, provided veterans with employment training, reinforced employment and reemployment rights, and created a regional support centers for veterans integrated service networks. Unfortunately, on February 27th, the bill was shot down by a mainly Republican vote. It was considered too costly and an unnecessary burden on the VA by the opposition. In our town of Nazareth, Pennsylvania, there is a large veteran population. Family, friends, police officers, volunteer firefighters, even teachers and students have been a part of our armed forces. My own father and grandfather served our country in the 1960s and the 1980s.
I served in the Navy and the Naval Reserve from 1986 to 1997. I was an interior communications electrician, and I did maintenance on telephones, alarm systems, propulsion, and systems monitoring.
I was in the United States Army. I was draftee right after Christmas in 1965. I served for 22 months and 20 days, including 1 year in Vietnam.
Personally, that bill, as far as the medical benefits and so on, would not greatly affect me because I have them through my full-time employment. However, if I lost employment, those benefits would be very beneficial for both me and my family. And as a disabled veteran, it may also impact me from the standpoint of more disability payment in the future and even now. But I really don't take advantage of any of the benefits. I would rather leave it for those coming home from war now that need it more profoundly than
As of right now, at my age, the benefits really wouldn't be a benefit to me, except for maybe advanced or more medical care. Specifically, since I'm covered by the VA now for diabetes as a result of Agent Orange in Vietnam, but the coverage doesn't cover, it covers prescriptions except the pills that they recommend they don't have. So I have to go out and buy them on the market. And I believe that the VA got to do better to get more coverage of the prescriptions, which would save me money every month.
I had a major dislocation of my left shoulder when I was in the Navy, and it continued to dislocate because it was never treated properly in the first place. And after several years of incompetent health care in the Navy, I was discharged on a medical discharge to the VA, and they continued to give me incompetent medical treatment. So I sought treatment in the civilian community, and they finally fixed it 10 years after I was out of the Navy. But unfortunately, it's a lifelong disability.
The disability I have is as a result of Agent Orange, and I ended up getting diabetes type 2, which they claim was a cause of having Agent Orange sprayed around Vietnam. And I got to get my blood sugars, and I do get at the VA every 6 months. I do get a checkup with the doctor and have blood work every 6 months.
1 in every 10 veterans is disabled, usually by injury sustained in combat. More than 20,000 veterans were wounded in combat from Iraq and Afghanistan alone. Over 600,000 veterans have been diagnosed with some form of mental health issue, with 1 in 6 being on at least one psychiatric drug. As many as 233,000 veterans are homeless, with cities in Florida, Georgia, Colorado, and California enacting severe restrictions on feeding the homeless. Something needs to be done to help our service members.
All of us. Our government asks these soldiers to place themselves in harm's way, and if when a veteran returns home, they are struggling to cope, we as a nation must come together to ensure a strong support system is in place. This means we must remove the stigma associated with seeking help. This means we must hire more mental health professionals and more who have served in combat zones.
I don't think they should change anything. I think they should just pass the bill. I think our government should be ashamed of themselves the way they treat veterans. They take advantage, and they don't appreciate veterans the way they should. Our communities get together and rally behind the troops, but our politicians don't. They use us and abuse us.
I'm not too sure about maybe the employment kind of benefits, in my opinion, aren't really that necessary. If a guy is a volunteer kind of army or service, he should be able to, get himself his trade or whatever it is, maybe in the military, and the education benefits that may after he comes out. I'm not sure it's the greatest thing going on.
Say a prayer for peace.
I was born a month after my dad was medically discharged from the United States Navy, so I didn't have to experience the fear of having a loved one deployed. But I did have to experience the effects of his disability. Being told your dad can't pick you up anymore at 5 was really difficult. But we lucked out. My dad didn't come home an amputee or with PTSD. My grandfather didn't come home with cancer from Agent Orange. We didn't have to bury my family early. So many others have to go through this every day. And these are the ones that Senate Bill 1982 would have helped. And the fact that it didn't get passed is really disappointing.